Daisy chains and sweet champagne, and 2 days alone with you. Not too far from the city by car, or maybe we can make a more romantic trip by train to the country. It's where I want to be with you for the week.
Good morning. Welcome to Heritage Homestead Creations. If you don't know my name already, it's Erin, and behind that camera right there is T. And another beautiful day, I think. Cloudy up.
Cloudy.
It's cloudy out there.
Oh, that's bright.
That's
yeah,
bright.
it's pretty cloudy, folks.
Pretty cloudy. Well, today we're going to do part 16. It's probably going to be a little shorter video, I think, because we're going to finish up the majority of the woodworking today. Yesterday we finished up what we started. Today is Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And so yesterday was Sunday. We finished up the majority of the press barrels. You want you to show them the press barrels here. And there's a few thoughts I want to share on the techniques and stuff that I was doing and setting those up, but we can take a quick look. Set it down here and you give them a pan around and kind of zoom and see that in. This area is where there's overlap. I've got 4 screws overlapping. It's a little tighter. It needs to be bent a little bit to help conform its circle. Yeah, the sticks are a little bit different length, slight difference. You know, a 16th here, 32nd there. That's because just the deviations and me not being able to have the tooling that I need. But either way, it works really well. And let me grab press plate. And the press plate, of course, will go bang, just like that.
No, it'll have a handle on it, so it won't go bang.
Yeah, we'll have the piece that goes on top of there. But so we got the barrels done, and that was a pretty substantial amount of work there.
Oh yeah, my hand peels it. I sanded every one of them.
Yes. you feel it, all right, that's for sure. So today we're going to work on these pallets. I'll show you that in a second. But on my little jig here, I want to talk about that a little bit so that if anybody ever uses this technique, the screw that I had here was a little bit smaller than the drill bit. So when you get the drill bit through the metal and that screw there was just a slight variation of a wiggle, maybe a 64th of an inch, maybe even much smaller than that. It's just a tiny bit. One of the things that I strive for, and a lot of things that I do, including, you know, a little bit of that there, is people always, especially when I was shooting a bow and stuff like that, people would always say, why are you so good at what you do? Why could you hit the target so accurately, consistently? And it's one of the things I learned a long time ago about whatever you do is trying to duplicate things as closely as you can every time in everything that you do. And in this particular instance, what that meant was, because there was just a tiny little bit of slop, and I didn't pay attention to it the first strap or two that I started running through, and I ran through a whole bunch of extras. I've got them cleaned up, painted, ready to go for the next barrels. But what I noticed was when I started laying them out on my jig, from the first one to the second one, I had changed and didn't realize it. The fact that I was either pushing or pulling on that strap up against the little pin, that little screw that's sticking up there. And because there's a tiny little gap, it doesn't mean much on just 2 holes, but if you pull on each one, and each one, and you're pulling on it instead of pushing on it, that difference adds up. So over the course of that strap, that tiny little bit of error would accumulate. And what it reminded me to do, which I hadn't thought of prior, was to make sure that the technique of holding the strap down was the same each time. So whenever you're striving for precision, or excuse me, not precision, accuracy. So let's talk about as it would relate to shooting something. Accuracy is hitting the bullseye, which is making sure that every one of those holes is the same from the lower strap to the upper strap, so that all your sticks all your sticks would be parallel. Because if one set is run out, what you'll end up with is something that ends up being more conical in shape if you really worked it all the way around and you had that kind of, be on a slight manner. But the point is this: accuracy is being able to hit the bullseye. Precision is getting it the same thing every time. So when Tia and I would be out shooting our bows, I didn't care one bit at all when I was first teaching her whether she was hitting the bullseye. She kept thinking, I gotta hit the bullseye, because that's what you're supposed to do. I'm saying, no, I don't care if you hit the bullseye. What I want you to do is something consistent, constantly in your actions, so that you're making sure you're holding the sight line the exact same way. And I realized that. So when you're doing these things, keep that in mind, that yes, you can set up a jig to speed yourself up, but unless you have a precision jig where the screw is the exact same diameter and there's no slop in your in the pin or the hole of the strap going over the pin, so it can't move and it's held exactly in place. You know, little things like that are things that you want to pay attention to. Some places it doesn't matter. When we were running out the slats, and can I get one here? Let's get one. When we were running out the slats and we were sanding them down, I chamfered all the ends of these, right? Because it makes them stronger. Especially, it allows them to move around on their ends without snagging anything with the corner. It just makes things smoother. But this is a freehand thing, so I could take it and just bump. Well, hello there.
Hi, Smokey.
Hi, Smokey. I could just bump these and kind of achieve the same thing, but there's slight variations. None of these are exactly the same, and that's part of what makes the handwork so much more warmer than what you'd have if you got it done perfectly out of a machine CNC device that would run it through and no human hands touches it. So there's ways that we want to perfect ourselves in what we do so that we do a better job, and then there's ways where, you know, art and craftsmanship can shine, and it's not exactly perfect, but it looks good and it functions properly, and it's not going to make a huge difference. So on that, I wanted you to understand that there is a tremendous amount of thought process that goes on in this. And keeping your head, if you go to do something similar to, or you go to do this, then you want to make sure when you're doing repetition and you're running out a lot of the same parts, that you realize that you're a part of the function, and that you need to make sure that your actions are the same all the way through to get your own consistency, which is something I learned again for the umpteenth thousandth time. Is okay, how are my actions working? So just the last thing I want to say on that, I think we're doing good. I'm very happy with our barrels. They look fantastic, and they should last a very, very long. Oh, of course, the whole thing's going to last. But our next project is the last of the woodworking, I think, and that's where we started this morning, is ripping out the slats for our press pallets. Now, I've gotten 16 of these, slightly variations in length because of the slight variations in width of the juice pan, but it's going to be an easy project for today. Essentially, I just took some 3/4 by, ran it through the table saw, and this one's got a little bit of burn we didn't get off of it, a little saw burn, but that's okay. This
Gives
will be
it
on
character.
Yeah, it gives it character. It's on ours too. But now we're going to do a little bit of sanding on them, and essentially it's going to be a really easy little project. All I got to do is crisscross glue them up. We'll show you that here in just a little bit, and then I mitered the corners on it so it's octagonal, kind of stop sign shaped, and that should be it. It's a fairly easy project for today, but that's going to clean up
The woodworking
pretty
part
much
of it.
all. That's all the woodworking that will have been done. So once the pallet's in place, all the wood pieces there, and then there's only going to be 2 additional aspects or projects left to do. The metalwork is the last part where we'll be working on turning that into the press screw. So we've got the 3/4 inch rod that will be welded on top of it to be your handle. And I'll take it back. There are three last things that we need to do. We need to get the press screw made and mounted with the bolts. There's going to be a little bit of welding involved in that. We'll need to get the motors mounted.
Yes.
And that's going to be a little challenge because our new motors are different than my old motors, which means I got to come up with a little bit different orientation and configuration. Take that. There's 4 things that we got to do now that I'm thinking about it. The third thing is actually a pretty easy one, and that's to mount the wheels on the rear set of legs here, so that it's easier to move
roll.
So this rod will go through the legs down here and receive the wheels. We got to get that on there. Those got to get done, and then we got to wire it. And wiring is getting our switch plate on there. So each one of those, so there's essentially so we got the cord and the switch that will have to get mounted on there. So essentially there's four last steps. All of those don't involve woodworking other than to punch a hole through our upper beam, and that should be pretty easy. So this is an easy afternoon. It's a little detail oriented. It's time consuming, just like yesterday. A lot of repetitive work, and I think that's it. Like I said, let's keep it short. I will wrap up this video and show you here in just a few minutes what the pallets look like when we get them done. So we'll catch you back in a minute. Okay, folks, this portion of the project is almost done. T's over here working on the garden, and as you can see, removing the undesirables, the undesirables, the deplorables, and well, that's the way you do it in order to make sure that you don't retill all the seeds. And like I said, we're a little behind on it, but that's the best route right there. Get in there with your hands and down on your knees. And anyway, while she's doing that, I was sitting here playing glue up sticks, and we are not 100% done, but we're really close to it. We got them all laid out, squared up, and spaced out, and pretty much just eyeballed them together. Put a little dab of glue in them, and there you go. So this one's almost dry. So what do we have left to do on them? Let them dry for one, and then I will come back and I will cut the corners off. So we will miter that corner, this corner and this corner. And then once we get the corners mitered off, we'll sand the edges up a little bit. This particular one, let's see if I can spin it around here. There were different lengths on these, so I let them run long. I'll, cut those off or sand those off smooth, miter the corners, clean up the edges real good. T helped get all the slats sanded very nice, so they're very soft and nice to the touch. And same with this one, miter the corners and whatnot. So there you go. That's the end of the woodworking portion of this massive build that we've got. And they will sit, of course, right underneath the barrels there. And I think that's it for this go around. I told you it'd be a quick, I should shut up and just end this, but there you go. Quick little project for this. Still have to use the best of best wood that you can. I'm using the highest end wood glue I can get that's waterproof, in order to make sure that those bonds stay together and handle being juiced up. So it was good. It was good. Long run, a lot of woodworking. And I'm looking forward to finishing these things up. I'm thinking the next big move we're going to make is to get the press screws put together, and it'll be a few days before I do that. So these videos, this number 15 and this one I think is number 16, we'll probably won't get it posted. I don't know. Maybe we can get it. I don't know. The computer's taken so long to. Computer's really taken so long to save it. Working on editing part 15 while I'm doing this, and it's taken 4 hours to save that 23 minute video. It's crazy. So I'm not sure why that is. Degrading the software, maybe. All Microsoft software has built-in degrade in it. So anyway, that's it for now. Next go around, like I said, there's 4 major things that we need to do. Get the screws and the part that goes on top of the press plate. So there's a little welding and cutting that needs to be done. We're going into metalwork. Drilling out for the axle and the wheels. That's a quick one. Shouldn't take too long for that one, I think. Mounting the motors. This one I've got figured out because of the old style motor that I got. Then the other one we're going to have to do a little something different for the other two. That's going to be interesting. And then wiring. So that's it, my friends. We'll probably have to catch back up in about a week or so when we get time to sit down and go into the rest of it. But we're getting closer, and it's looking good, and I'm really happy with what we've gotten done so far. I'm very pleased with the quality work I've put into it, even though it hasn't gone as fast this go around as it used to. Lots more to take care on the homestead, and on that note, I think I'm calling it good. Right on cue. Y'all take care.